What if your wedding night turned into a countdown to murder, and your bride's life depended on you killing a man you've just met? Welcome to An Enemy Within 2026, a psychological thriller where love, power, and betrayal collide inside a single haunted estate. A story where no one is safe and no one is innocent. The film opens inside a massive English estate, cold, silent, beautiful, but suffocating. This is the Wingate family home, a place built on wealth, pride, and buried resentment. And tonight, it's hosting a wedding. The groom is Caleb Wingate, played by William Moseley, a man who seems calm on the surface, but inside, he's stepping into a world he doesn't fully understand. The wedding has barely ended. The guests are still celebrating. The night feels perfect. But perfection never lasts long in this house. Because suddenly, everything changes. Caleb receives a message. Not a blessing, not a toast, but an ultimatum. Kill his wealthy father-in-law before midnight, or his bride will die. Just like that, the celebration turns into a nightmare. And somewhere outside the estate, a shadow begins to move. A mysterious sniper, known only as the Wolf. Watching, waiting, controlling everything from a distance. But the real horror isn't outside the house, it's inside it. Because as the clock starts ticking, the family inside the estate slowly begins to reveal something terrifying. They don't trust each other. They never did. And Caleb is now trapped in the middle of a game he never agreed to play. But what happens next changes everything.
As midnight gets closer, the estate transforms. What was once a wedding celebration becomes a pressure cooker of suspicion. Caleb is forced into an impossible position: kill a man he barely knows, or watch his wife die. But the deeper he goes into this nightmare, the more he realizes something even worse. Nothing in this house is what it seems. Every family member has secrets. Every smile hides something sharp. Every conversation feels like a trap being set. And slowly, the truth begins to fracture the illusion of control. Inside the family, tensions explode. Alliances shift in seconds. Accusations fly. And suddenly, everyone becomes a suspect. One of the most unpredictable forces in the room is Jackson, played by Alexander Lincoln. Loud, arrogant, unstable. He masks deep insecurity behind sarcasm and alcohol-fueled confidence. One moment he's joking, the next he's threatening to break. And Caleb realizes something chilling. In this house, instability is everywhere. Meanwhile, Robert, the aging patriarch played by Patrick Bellotti, is slowly deteriorating. His condition is worsening, his body is failing, and instead of sympathy, people begin circling him like vultures, waiting, calculating, wondering what this death could mean for them. And that's when Caleb understands the truth. This isn't just about a murder order, it's about inheritance, control, and survival. But outside the house, the wolf is still watching, turning every moment into a controlled experiment of fear. And as the clock ticks closer to midnight, Caleb realizes something horrifying. He may not be the only one being manipulated.
As the night deepens, the psychological warfare inside the estate becomes unbearable. No one trusts anyone anymore. Every sentence is a weapon. Every silence is a threat. And Caleb is slowly losing control of reality. But the biggest shock is still ahead, because what Caleb begins to understand is this. This family was already broken long before tonight. Greed, resentment, jealousy, emotional manipulation. These aren't new emotions. They are old wounds finally bleeding in the open. And every character believes they are justified. No one sees themselves as the villain, but each of them is willing to destroy someone else to survive. The room itself becomes a battlefield.
Power shifts constantly. One moment someone is in control, the next moment they're being exposed. Every conversation hides a second meaning. Every accusation is a distraction from something darker. And Caleb's trust begins to collapse completely. He realizes he is not just a pawn, he is part of the game. Meanwhile, the presence of the wolf becomes even more disturbing. Not just an assassin, but an observer, a silent witness to every secret unfolding inside the estate, watching privilege decay in real time. And as midnight approaches, everything begins to spiral toward violence. But no one is prepared for what happens next, because the final act is about to begin, and it changes everything.
When the final act arrives, the film explodes. The tension that has been building all night finally breaks, and what begins as psychological warfare becomes survival. The balance of power shifts dramatically. The men who once controlled the room begin to lose their grip, and unexpectedly, it is the women of the families who begin to take control. Stronger, clearer, more decisive. While chaos spreads through the estate, one sequence becomes unforgettable. Bloodied family members, armed with rifles, descending from the darkness of the study into a brightly lit wedding reception hall. A place that once symbolized joy, now transformed into a battlefield. Light, noise, panic, everything colliding at once. And in this moment, the illusion of the perfect family completely collapses. What follows is pure chaos. Truths are exposed, control disappears, and survival becomes the only rule left. Meanwhile, Caleb is forced to confront the reality of everything he has experienced. Nothing about this night was random. Every manipulation, every secret, every betrayal, it was all part of a system that was already rotten long before he arrived. And the wolf, the unseen presence outside, was never just an attacker. He was a mirror, reflecting the corruption already inside the house. By the end, there are no real winners, only survivors. And even survival feels like punishment, because the film leaves one haunting truth behind. The enemy was never just outside the house. It was within it all along, inside every lie, every desire, every hidden intention, and every broken relationship in that estate. An Enemy Within 2026 is not just a thriller. It is a psychological pressure cooker about power, privilege, and the violence people justify when they believe they deserve everything. And it leaves one final question hanging in the air. If everyone believes they are right, then who is truly innocent? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe for more deep movie explanations and cinematic recaps. Because next time, we're diving even deeper into the darkness behind the story.